You ever smoke cigarettes?
No.
That's
never.
probably why. I
Yeah,
smoke a
I've
lot of
never.
bad things.
I think I've taken a drag off of one just to see what it was like, and
Cigarettes suck,
Yeah.
dude. They're not fun. They're not like, I don't know, dude. Vaping was much more tempting for me than cigarettes were, for the most part.
I saw you quit vaping.
I did.
How was that?
Bro, honestly, one of the hardest things I've ever done. Like, legitimately.
I've heard that nicotine addiction is like worse than cocaine. Or
Yeah,
maybe
I quit. So, for me, it's kind of interesting because, like, did you ever, like, get super into hard drugs at all? I know
No,
we've talked about on
never.
Pine Park, you doing shrooms and stuff like that, but, like...
No, I've never done cocaine or meth, heroin, any of that. The only drugs I've done is just weed, mushrooms, DMT. I've never done acid, honestly. I'm open to it, though. I just never...
DMT fascinates me.
Yeah, DMT's crazy. Yeah, I haven't touched it in a while because I had a crazy experience years ago. I don't need to go back. I'm good.
What was your crazy experience?
In like 2017, I like took the fattest dab where I broke through, and
Oh, you took, like, straight off the banger, you dabbed the DMT?
me and my some of the OG viewers, if you guys are watching this, you guys might know Sam. But we were hanging out and we were doing DMT. This is when I bought a gram from some guy, and a gram is a lot. You don't need a lot to get off on DMT.
Yeah, I've never done DMT.
So we were experimenting with, like, I'm talking the smallest little specks, using an e-nail because, you know, it's consistent temperature. DMT, it can't be too high. You're just going to burn it. So we're using the e-nail somewhere around the 400s. I can't remember.
Really? You low temp DMT?
Well, you're supposed to, because
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Anything above a certain temperature, I don't know. Some of you guys might know, but you got to low temp it. So we were all, like, for a little while, I'd say a few, like, not even a few, maybe a month or so. Every time we hung out in sesh, we'd maybe try a little bit of DMT, do really small amounts because we know how strong it is. And then one of the times, you know, we kept adding a little bit more. This time, like, Sam would do it, he'd add a little bit more. I had this square parchment paper, and if you can imagine the jar of, it's like a hash jar, and I just dumped like a good amount of the yellow powder onto the parchment, and then folded it like a taco, and then just like dumped, like
it slid in almost?
Yes, it slid off of the paper into the thing.
Oh my
capped
God.
it. And I remember as it's I'm hidden in it's milking up like a fat fucking dab. And I remember my homie Sam, he's looking at me, and I just go for it. And that's when I lean back, and I was gone. I completely, like, people will say, well, I don't know if you'll know when you break through. It was the most intense, it's the most intense experience that I've ever gone through in my fucking life. And it wasn't like traumatic where I had like jesters or demons like you'll sometimes hear, but it was just, I had a nice entity that was like trying to calm me down. It was doing its little dance and like trying to tell me that everything is okay, but still just that intense experience just, I wouldn't say scared me away, but it's such a fucking experience that like, it was all I could think about for, I'm not joking, I'm not, every day for like a year. What the fuck was that I just saw? That's not real. Like, there's no way I saw that. People don't understand what the fuck, like, I didn't go crazy. I wasn't like losing my marbles, but
Bad trips are traumatic, dude.
It wasn't even it was just something that I couldn't comprehend that I saw. Like, how is that real on this fucking earth? It's nothing that anyone could comprehend. And that, I was just good after that.
So I've heard a rumor about DMT. Is it true that, like, when you start breaking through, you hear, or when you start coming up, you hear like a buzzing sound almost?
Yes.
That's true?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how to explain it, but not only like the buzzing or like, it's a frequency. It's a zzz, like a fucking...
Is it more than something you just, like, do you feel it almost too?
Yes, my whole body was like vibrating. And when I was coming to, I was in the fetal position and I started like hurling, like I was gonna throw up. And I felt this like energy just like coming out of me. I don't know how to explain it, but it was like shooting up into my sternum, and I was going, and trying to throw up, but nothing was coming out. Meanwhile, I'm like still tripping fucking balls. I'm laying in the fetal position on the bed, and I know my friends are just watching me, like just watching me go through it. And when I eventually came through, I was like sitting on the edge of my bed, drenched in fucking sweat. I had my long hair at the time, and I was just sitting there like this. My hair is, and I didn't say anything to them for maybe like 10 minutes because I had to like gather myself together. I couldn't even I know they're all looking at me like, dude, what did you just see? What'd you go through? And I don't even know how to explain it to them. I'm sitting here like, how do I explain to them what just happened to me? And I'm like nauseous. I'm like sweating. It was a crazy experience.
How long did it feel like it lasted in your head?
I don't know, because I've heard sometimes where people will say, well, I was there for like a whole lifetime. I didn't have that type of feeling at all. It didn't feel short, like DMT is, normally a few minutes, but I wasn't even thinking about time. All I know is that I was just where I was in this fucking crazy cosmic fucking whatever.
Plane or something.
I don't know, and there was no comprehension of time. How long am I here? I was just like there for the ride. That's all I could, like, it was too much. There was so much going on at once that that's why that dude Terrence McKenna, if you ever heard of him,
Yep,
he's
I've
like
heard
the
of him.
guy who takes mushrooms. He tries like really hard to explain what's going on and trying to slow things down because it's such a hard thing to get a grasp of when you're in it.
Yep.
So I had no grasp of reality, time. I didn't even know who I fucking was almost, it seemed like. I was,
Yeah, I mean, it seems, I would imagine, pretty difficult to go from like this full out-of-body experience. Now suddenly, you almost, it feels like waking up, I guess, right? When you come back
for sure.
from
You
that
come
trip.
back and everything was still moving around the room. Okay, I'm not back. I gotta close my fucking eyes. I remember. And the window was open and the light was shining through. And the light that was shining through the window was, I don't know how to explain. It's this like glow. Everything is way more enhanced. It's almost if you take the saturation and you bring it up and everything is more contrast and vibrant. And yeah, it's definitely like waking up and also a sense of being like thankful that, oh, I'm alive. Like, okay, I'm a human. I'm fucking here. Like, because you're gone,
Yeah.
And then when you finally come to, it's like a sense of relief that, oh, I'm glad to be back here.
Yeah, I mean,
And this is from years ago. This is 2017.
was that your first bad DMT trip, or had you had other bad ones?
I wouldn't consider it bad, just so extreme.
Just an intense trip.
Just so, yeah, that's the right word, intense. Prior to that, again, it was small, very small amounts where I could sit there, I could look around. I'm not passing out or anything. And we slowly increased the amount that we were taking when we first discovered DMT. Me and all my friends were kind of like, what will this do? What will this do? And I was just the one of the friend group that finally took that next step to, sorry, I didn't mean to hit the mic.
You're good.
To take that big amount, and yeah. So I wouldn't say it was like a bad trip, just so intense, just so extreme, almost the equivalent to like a roller coaster that like, okay, that was crazy, but I don't want to get that on again. That's like the easiest analogy I can maybe think of, but still doesn't do justice.
DMT, I've always like, it just fascinates me because I've done a ton of acid, I've done a ton of shrooms. I was always like scared of DMT, like that out of body. I like, I've done a lot of drugs, but I like being grounded. I really value like, even on acid or on shrooms, like still knowing where I am.
You can tell yourself, I took this.
Yes, yes. And DMT, the thing that stopped me from ever doing it is that full out of body stuff you're talking about. Like, that's scary, bro.
Yeah, it is, because you're not here.
Yeah.
You're
not
in
here. Fucking Narnia.
Yeah. And everything is made out of patterns and geometry, and usually, from what I've seen, when I started listening to people's breakthrough experiences after I had DMT, I understood it on another level that I couldn't before. Because I remember watching videos of people talk about DMT before I'd taken it. And I'm taking small dabs and I'm like, oh, I've never had anything like that. But it wasn't until I took that big ass amount of DMT that when I started listening to these other stories of people breaking through, I can understand what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe their experience was different. They saw a different entity, but the feeling of not being there and just kind of, just you're strapped for the ride, you're just there and whatever. I completely understand that.
Yep.
Because,
How many
dude, it's
times have you done
intense.
DMT? Like in total?
Oh, over 30 times probably.
Damn, that's a
'Cause
lot.
again, yeah, I took a lot of very small amounts and slowly worked my way up until where I finally just took that big amount.
Yeah.
But yeah.